Navigating today's real estate market can be tricky. Want to buy or sell a house, finance or insure a house, or stuck with a house and don't know what to do? Florida Talk Real Estate has been your local one-stop real estate shop since 2012. Get the advice you need from your local real estate pros. Here are your hosts, Jim DePaola and Johnny C. live on Real Radio.
Is that crickets chirping? It is, because Johnny's not here and Jimmy D's back. Johnny, I hope you have a good day today. He called in to decide to take a break off. So it's going to be an unusual show, but I think it's going to be a really fun show. We're going to have Mike Rao from the mortgage firm is not going to be here. Johnny C is not going to be here. So you're stuck with Jimmy D. And
I think both of them went out last night. And,
I think they partied too hard.
Yeah, too many beers together.
Well, I know that Mike has a party he's organizing for later today, which is why he isn't coming in. So I hope he didn't party too hard with Johnny. But we've also got, so today we're going to have a short crew, but a big show. And we have Ross Komarinetz for Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. How you doing, Ross?
Doing well. Good to see you.
Awesome. And, of course, we got Jimothy, the producer. How you doing, Jimothy?
I am doing well, Jim. Ross, glad to be here with you guys.
Absolutely.
Love it.
I don't think you can see on my camera right now, but I'm wearing my festive spring shirt. Have you noticed that? Because we're springing back tomorrow, which I'm very happy about because I don't fall back for anybody. So I'm so glad that season's over.
Maybe this will finally be it, right? Last time we have to do this, nice change. Maybe we finally get this bill passed through to Congress.
Hopefully.
I'm a spring back guy, but I just read a story today when I was getting ready for the show talking about why springing back is actually horrible for your health. And they started talking about all the problems health-wise, why you shouldn't spring back.
Okay.
So, but I don't care. I'd rather have the late morning darkness and the late sunshine in the day.
Right.
Than the vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. So I'm so happy we're springing back. So
how about you, Ross? Do you prefer the daylight in the evening hours or in the morning hours?
Man, it's tough because I like to do everything, exercise wise in the morning.
Right.
And a lot of that is outside.
Yeah. And you would prefer to be in the daylight for that, obviously, if you're jogging on the roads or
swimming or something.
Yeah.
But then I also hate it when I, look outside at 5 o'clock and it's dark.
It's dark, yeah.
I like it when it's, that in between, I guess.
Let's do a half hour then.
Yeah.
That's so cool. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about today. We have a first-time buyer success story, which I'm really happy to talk about. First-time buyer success story. I thought first-time buyers can't buy houses in today's market. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that because, yes, you can do it in this market. We're also going to talk about the market today. Market is actually real news today. We had a bank collapse. I'm wondering if that's the beginning of the beginning.
Uh-oh.
The beginning of the beginning of the end.
Yeah. It's crazy how that happened.
Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about the Silicon Valley Bank situation and how it might affect ripple through markets or not. We're also going to talk about area codes. We had to change an area code last week. I forgot to talk about it last week. So we're going to talk about that for a second. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been down here since West Palm was 305.
Yeah.
I've been down here that long. So we're going to talk about that a little bit.
If you called Vero, it was 407.
Yes, we're going to.
Really?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And 407 came down that far. Huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, when Florida was like first being habitated, if you will, where they're actually forming cities and counties and stuff, do you know that West Palm was part of Miami-Dade County?
Okay.
Back then, Miami, it was Dade County, right? I think they put the Miami on it later. Dade County, it was Dade County back then. That's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about homeowners insurance. Hey, Ross, we hit a milestone this week. Woohoo! But I don't think it's a good thing. Uh-oh.
Oh, boy. I got some questions for Ross, too.
Oh, awesome on insurance.
Yes,
And then some national crime group said thank you to the Florida legislators about new things they're trying to pass. So we're going to talk about that just briefly because I'm not sure I know who this national crime group is and if it's BS or not, but we'll talk about it for a second. And then the market update, man. Wow, things have just been going crazy. And the a couple other things we're going to get into the show this week is I thought this was kind of funny. Florida sucks, so I'm moving to Vegas. I decided that's what I'm doing. I'm going to tell you why. So we're going to talk about why I'm moving to Vegas. And
put it all in black.
Yeah, I know. Put it all on black, baby. Remember that guy that took he was like a 20-something-year-old kid, He took all his life savings because he hated his job. He took everything, hocked his clothes, hocked his car, everything. So he had nothing, okay, other than the clothes on his thing. Went to Vegas, told everybody on YouTube that he was going to bet it all on roulette, and he went and did it, and they did it live on YouTube, and he won.
Oh.
So that was pretty cool. But anyway, and if we get to it, but I think I'm going to hold off till next week. I was going to talk to you about confusing real estate numbers that regular people don't understand the market very well because of the way it's portrayed in the media, the way they describe things. But I think I'd rather have Mike be here for that, Mike, the mortgage guy. So we'll probably wait for that till next week. But Jimothy, I understand that we have a caller online already.
Let's start with a phone call today because Thomas called in. Now he apparently has a condo and he wants some advice on whether to rent it or to sell it. So Thomas, welcome to Florida Talk Real Estate.
Guys, thank you so much. I'm another one of the transplanted New Yorkers down here about 14 months. I found the show a couple of weeks ago. It's really fantastic. As somebody that is super passionate about real estate, I share a lot of what you folks talk about. I've been sharing it with my friends. So thank you for picking up the call.
That's awesome, Tom. Thank you for being a new fan. I hope you become a longtime listener. Believe it or not, we've been on the show now 11 years. Can you imagine 11 years? We started in 2012, and we've helped thousands of people on the show between homeowners insurance, mortgages and refi questions, title questions, probate issues,
buying and selling homes,
yeah, and investing. But also back during the crisis, we specialized in the government programs that help people with loan modifications and also short sales. And we are using the government programs today to help first-time home buyers with down payment assistance, which we have a success story about that today. So we're really out there. And what we try to do, not just for Tom, but anybody listening, is this is a very consumer-oriented show. That's the way I designed the show. I did not want it to be a sales pitch. I wanted it to be what's happening in the market today and trying to educate people. And then if they saw value in what we had to say, they call up and ask questions, just like Tom. So, Tom, what is your question today?
So I currently own 2 condos in West Boynton Beach in the Military Trail, Boynton Beach Boulevard area. I have one that I live in that we inherited, my wife and I, from my mother-in-law. I purchased a second condo in the same community back in September. I got, I think, a pretty good, it was a distressed property. I think I bought it at the right price. Been doing some light rehabilitation, and I'm really wondering at this point, given the state of affairs with the market, I know you folks are talking about the bank failure and some things that are popping now, would I be better off holding on to both units or selling both units? We are at some point going to want a single-family house, given some of the challenges in the condominium space. So just was hoping to get some advice in terms of the second unit that I purchased. Would I be better off just finishing the rehab, paint, flooring, new appliance group, that sort of thing? Maybe better off putting it on the market, renting it. Just hoping to get some advice from you guys.
Excellent question, especially in today's market. So couple of things I need to ask you, Tom. Do you prefer Thomas or Tom? I apologize.
Either way, that's fine.
Okay, I'm Jim, just so you know, even though I'm James technically. Okay. So a couple of things I need to ask you. With the second property that you're doing the light rehab on, if you were to rent the place out, do you know what you'd probably get for the rent? Because it sounds like you know the community pretty well.
Yeah, I'm guesstimating probably between $2,750, probably on an annualized rental. Season, I think would be higher. I would have to do probably at least 6 months and then pay for the seasonal. So $2,750 to probably, I don't know, maybe $4,000 if I did a seasonal rental. The expenses in terms of maintenance, there's 2 communities, two maintenance bills. It's running about probably about $8,500 a year just for the maintenance. That's not including the property taxes. So about $8,500 a year just in maintenance alone.
So that comes out to about 700, just to round up numbers. That's $700 a month for that. And I assume you own the house outright or the unit outright?
Yeah.
So you're okay. So $8,500 a year for your carry costs. Now, how old is the AC? And the water heater?
Water heater is 2017. AC is probably around the same, 2017.
Okay, so 5, 6 years old. Okay, great. So let me ask you this. So let's see. I'm running numbers in my head because I don't have a calculator in front of me. So just to figure it out, 2,700 a year times 12, that comes out to like $31,000 roughly. Might be a couple thousand off swing weight, but I'm thinking it's about like $31,000 roughly. So and you have $8,500 in costs. So there's a significant potential to make a profit on that property. My question, a couple other questions. You're out in the West Boynton area, you said, so I know that area very, very well on the military trail. Are you in a 55 and over, or are you in an all ages community?
It's an all ages community. It starts with a P. I won't give you more than
Yeah, that's okay. Just to give you an idea. Okay, so a couple of things. When you try to do seasonal rentals, this is a little dirty secret that a lot of people don't know about seasonal rentals. Is that if you hit it, you do well, but there's a lot of seasonal rentals that never get rented. So the people that are waiting for that big monthly rent, let's say if you can get $2,500 a month for the year, but you're looking for 4 to 5,000 a month for the seasonal rental. If you don't get that seasonal rental, you carried the house for 3, 4 months, didn't get anything for the season. And now if you turn it back into the regular rental, you kind of lost all that income while you were trying to go for the big win. So you have to really check your neighborhood to see how strong seasonal rentals are and how you would compete with everybody else. Now, the other thing is about the equity in your home and the price values. What we're seeing, Tom, right now is, and AJ from Real Estate Touchtone Appraisal Services, Real Estate Services, Touchtone Real Estate Services, AJ Holman. He just sent me a report last week again where it still shows the levels that we were talking about 3 weeks ago, which is according to the pending sales and what's closing right now, at least in Palm Beach County, we're seeing about a 0.5% increase in appreciation per month, which would come out to 6% a year, which is pretty healthy. Okay. But what we don't know is where we are in the market. Are we at a peak part of the market? Is there still room to climb? Is there really 6% more to incline right now? The economists are all over the place. So here's a couple things to know about the rental property. If you choose to keep it and rent it, I don't think you're going to do bad, and you have appreciation, depreciation, tax benefits of having that unit. So there's a lot of benefits that way. So I don't know your financial situation, but that depreciation could be huge for you, and it might be worth keeping the unit just for the depreciation to offset taxes. But one of the other things you have to consider about is if you're fixing that house up and it's in excellent condition, which it sounds like it's going to be very soon, it's probably never going to be in that condition again if you rent it.
Right.
And when you go to resell it, you're probably going to have to do stuff to it again in order to do the resale. And the other thing is you have to consider is, do you want to be a landlord? If you really don't mind being the landlord or budgeting a property management service, which is a little tough when you only have one property, but you might be able to find somebody to do that. Are you going to be the kind of person that if you get a call at 2:00 in the morning saying that the toilet is stuffed up, that you're not going to, that you're going to be happily ready to take care of that problem and not consider it to be a big aggravation? I was a landlord one time by default where I didn't want to be a landlord, but I became stuck with a property and had to become the landlord. And it was not fun because I did not plan on using that for a rental property in my portfolio. It created a lot of problems and I dumped the property. Now, this is during the crash, but I had to dump the property and take a huge loss. I don't think that will happen with you, but I think that you're going to lose some of the upgrade value of the house over time of the updates. And right now, if you were to put the house on the market, believe it or not, it's not a bad time to sell. A lot of people think it's a really bad time to sell right now, but it really isn't that bad a time to sell. We're going to be talking to probably a customer soon who's supposed to be calling in later today. And we put her house on the market just in early January when the interest rates were still They were coming on the downswing from the highs of 7 in November, but everybody was totally scared of what was happening. So there were way less buyers in January. And we still sold the house in 4 days, and we got 99% of list price to sold price. Okay. So the market is still strong if you do it right, if you were to sell. So what you would have to decide is, do I want to be a landlord? Is the amount of profit that I'm making every month, if I rent it out and my business model works, is that enough? Or would I rather just cash out now, take that money, and maybe invest it in something else where you feel like maybe you can get a better return, right? So there was really no wrong answer for your situation right now, Tom, as to what to do. But what I would do is the financial calculations, and we can help you with that. Okay, we have a seller net sheet app and all these other apps that we could sit down and figure out the rental rates in your neighborhood, figure out what you could sell your unit for, what you would net in your pocket, and figure out what would happen if projection wise, what would happen if you rented out for 2, 3 years, 4 years, and figure out that too, so that you can make an informed decision.
That sounds great, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So, why did you move? I'd love to talk to you about this. So you said you just recently moved from New York?
Yeah, so we lived in Long Island, New York, in Suffolk County for 20, almost 30 years, born and raised there, and had an opportunity with COVID, like so many people, have twin boys that are now 20 years old. Ironically, they were both successful in gaining admission to Florida State University. And
Go
I
Knowles.
said to my wife at that point, here we go. Time to pack things up. I think we sold our house in Long Island probably just at the height of the market in September of 21. Got almost about $100,000 over asking price. The market was just so strong there that it was kind of a no-brainer. So I'm actually semi-retired. I'm work for the Department of Homeland Security at Palm Beach International. So if you come through, please look me up at one of the checkpoints. You'll probably see me there working with the passengers. But yeah, I had an opportunity to. We inherited a unit, the first condo that we currently live in, my wife and I, and like I said, had an opportunity to pick up a second unit due to some regulations that in our documents where we were able to buy a second unit because we inherited the first. So again, I think I bought it at the right price. We're doing some sweat equity on it, and I think you make a compelling argument. One thing that's given me some pause is obviously with the interest rates on the rise right now for folks like myself that save, you can get 4.5%, almost 5% interest in a treasury bill or a high yield money market for literally doing nothing. So what you said as far as do you want to be a landlord, you're right. That's an important question.
It is a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle change, Tom, and you have to be understanding when you become a landlord, there are responsibilities on it. You have to be real about that, right? Because real life happens. Okay, so you really have to consider all those things. It sounds like it's funny. We just did, I think it was 2 weeks ago, Ross, that we talked about who's moving to Florida. And we were talking about all the families coming down here, and Tom is exactly the kind of profile that we talked about, Timothy, right?
Yep.
We talked about people just like you, Tom, that are moving down here. Later on the show, you're going to catch later about why all the people are moving to Vegas. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. So a lot of the people that are moving down here are now a big segment of the Vegas market right now for buying homes out there, which I found to be very interesting. So we're going to talk about that a little later. I don't know if you've done it, Tom, but if you give Jim it,
I do.
you have his information off there.
Yep.
If you don't mind, I'll give you a call on Monday, and then I can answer any other personal questions off there. I don't like talking real numbers on the show, if you understand.
Yes, sir.
Thank you
great.
so.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Love the show.
Thank you so much. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, please like and share it. We want to get the word out. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks, fellas.
Thank you.
All right. Good luck, Thomas.
Hey, I guess we got Bailey on the phone, right?
Yes,
that
Bailey
true?
is on
She's been
hold.
waiting patiently.
And now Bailey is on the air with us. Bailey, welcome to Florida Talk Real Estate.
Thank you. Good morning.
Hey, Bailey.
Hey, Bailey.
I love hearing Bailey's voice because she's always so chipper about everything, and she's always on top of stuff too.
I know my
Bailey's on
energy
top
just
of her
went up
stuff.
like 2 notches.
I know,
Just
she's
hearing
like
that.
that.
I noticed that when I answered
Yeah.
the phone when she first called.
Yeah, she has a really great smile. She looks, listen to that laugh, right? You gotta love it. So
You can hear the smile.
Yeah, you can hear it. You can even feel it over the radio, Bailey. Can you imagine?
Good.
And it's funny because Martin, her husband, he's such a nice guy, but he's so quiet. He's really a quiet guy, and really great guy. But Bailey's like, just totally effervescent all the time. It's really funny. So Bailey, I want to say congratulations on closing on your home. You closed earlier this week. Was it this week or last week? I can't even remember.
I know. It was just this past Tuesday.
Oh my God, it was only Tuesday. It feels like I closed the week before. It's so crazy. I'm so happy. We've used you for fodder on the air for a couple of times now. Because Ross, I don't know if you've even ever talked to Ross, but you should do the new construction policy with him when you're ready to do that. But Ross was a big help to Bailey because Bailey and Martin were selling their house. People that listen to the show a lot probably know a lot about this. We've been talking about this insurance crisis that we're having here in Florida. And Bailey and Martin came to me because they wanted to sell their home, and they were in the process of going for a new construction home. And they called me up a while back before everything was getting strong, and they thought if we needed to sell the house that they would think about hiring us. And then gave them information. And then what happened was they had a relative that decided to buy the home, right, Bailey?
Yep, that's correct.
Right. So everything was rocking along. They went into contract on their new construction home, which they were really excited about. And at the time, when did they say that you were supposed to close on that, Bailey, roughly? The original when we first met?
Yes.
When was that supposed to be?
March 15th.
Yeah, March. And they came to me in late December, early January, right? So we didn't have a lot, March 15th. Yeah. We didn't have a lot of time. And what happened is that they found out, without getting into specifics, that the relative couldn't buy the house, right? Wasn't in a position to buy the house for whatever reason. So now,
yikes.
Yeah, now Bailey and Martin are in contract to buy the new home. You had a significant deposit down on the house, did you not? Or maybe not, I'm not sure, but you had a deposit down.
Yes.
On the new construction.
On the new construction home, and they didn't have a clause.
So we got seller buyers here.
We got seller buyer, right? The fast seller buyer, right? And we always say that because you need the proceeds of the sale from the sale in order to buy the new home. And if you don't have the money from the sale of your old home, you can't buy the new home.
But then there's a twist with the new construction part.
Right.
Because the house has to be built.
Right. And you don't know exactly when you can close because the house was still under construction when we were going through this.
Can you throw more at us, Bill?
Well, I can. I could throw you one more thing just to put the cherry on the top is that they didn't put in the clause of the new home purchase that they had to close on their old home in order to close on the new home. And if they couldn't sell their home, that they were able to back out of the first contract and get their deposit back. That's right. So that's called a kickout clause. So they didn't have that in there. So they were under a lot of pressure. So they, so the first thing you did was when you found out that your relative wasn't buying, is you put it on for sale by owner, right?
Correct. That was a hot mess.
So we haven't talked in a while for somebody who put something on for sale by owner, especially in this market. So you put the house on the market, I think it was in around New Year's, right around New Year's, you put it on like the Zillow type of companies, right? So what was that experience like? After you put the house on the market, they didn't price it crazy. They priced it pretty competitively. I thought it was a little overpriced. But what happened when you put it up there? What did you expect to happen? And then what happened in real life?
So we thought we would get people that are actually interested in the house. But instead, we got a bunch of realtors calling that just wanted the listing, and that was it.
Yep. And let me tell you about that. Okay. So Keller Williams is the largest broker in the country. Just like I was at Remax, the second largest at the time. They train you to do what's called FSBOs and expireds. And you pay lists of brand new expired listings and FSBOs. And you actually pay a service to get phone numbers and emails and information from the owners so that you're able to call them and try to convince them not to sell their house for sale by owner and hire you. And I'm sure you've heard a lot of different scripts. Because,
and probably a lot of similar ones.
yes, I was going to say, did a lot of people say the same things to you over and over again? Did you notice that?
Yes, absolutely.
What was your favorite? Did you have a favorite that you remember? Or most
No,
frustrating?
in particular.
No.
Yeah, somebody came to the house to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
They acted like they were the buyer, but they were actually a real estate agent. And the next day, she had her son drop off a package for us to quote unquote sign and retain her, which I promptly threw in the garbage.
Yeah. So
I knew I was going to go with Jimmy D.
yes. So that's what happened. So after she didn't have it on the market, Martin Hurd did not have the market on the market for FSBO very long. You gave me the call and you were like, Jim, I got to get this done quick. So I raced out there. I think we didn't dilly dally. We got out there pretty quick.
No.
Let me tell you, their house, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-car garage home in the Green Acres area. It was so nice on the inside. In 2021 or 2020, they had done the interior of the house. It looked so nice. New kitchen, new bathroom. They put crown molding in that was really nice. Nice interior paint job. Exterior was super tight. I forget, did you have impact windows?
Yes, the whole house.
Impact windows. Everything was on point on this house. So they deserve to get on the upper end of the neighborhood. But there were two things that we had to be concerned about, because in January, when we were putting the house on the market, that's when we were starting to see the slowdown in sales. Not necessarily prices, but sales. So sales were dropping. Now we're down almost 35% right now for sales year over year, but we were just in the middle of that trend. So we didn't know what was going to happen in the future. We knew that interest rates just a month and a half earlier, had hit 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Timothy's telling me we're almost time for a break. I said, but 7% interest rate. We were at like 6.5 or a little over 6.5. So it was dropping a little bit, but we didn't know if it would go back up. And they didn't have time. They needed their buyer right now. So what we did is we put the house at a price a little bit lower than they had it on the market for. Actually, let me take that back. I think when you finished with the sale by owner website, I think your price was at $390 or $490. I'm sorry, $490. And I think we put it on the market. I know we put it on the market at $500. So I think we actually put it up a little higher than you had at least the last number you put in the for sale by owner. I looked it up last night. Is that right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So it was actually 400.
Yeah. So we put it up at
So it's 390 and 400.
390 and 400. So what ended up happening was we decided to put up at 400, but we had an issue, and the issue was the two issues were the house was a little smaller than some of the other houses that had sold in the 400s by a couple hundred feet, like an extra bedroom or an extra living room. And the second thing was their roof looked like in great shape to me, but it was older. And that was going to be the thing that we were going to have to deal with in the negotiation. So Bailey, I didn't mean to do it this way, but we didn't expect Thomas's call. Could you hold for the break? Could you hold for the break? And then we're going to go back and find out what happened when we put the house on the market. Is that okay? Okay, we're going to come back in 4 minutes. Okay, so just hold.
It's a real radio show.
Yeah, it's a real radio. We're going to come back, and now you're going to find out what exactly happened with Bailey and Martin.
Yeah.
They were at a jam, and we needed to get the deal done quick, so we're going to find out.
Insurance is involved. What's going on?
Yeah, we got some stuff going. Okay.
We'll be right back.
Right back.
What's a Real Radio podcast? It's Real Radio on demand. Find your favorite show at realradio921.com.
For more information about contests on the station, visit realradio921.com/rules.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Collins with CBS 12 News. Mostly sunny this afternoon with highs in the lower to middle 80s and a northwest breeze between 15 to 20 miles per hour. A shower chance through this evening, then partly cloudy and breezy tonight with lows in the upper 50s inland and 60s at the coast Sunday morning.
This report is sponsored by the Florida Department of Transportation. Hey listeners, before celebrating St. Patrick's Day this year, remember to plan ahead and know all your options. If you drink, don't get behind the wheel. Instead, designate a sober driver or catch a ride service. And if you are the designated sober driver, commit to staying sober. Don't let your luck run out.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rao from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rao will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rao, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Komarinetz, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
This is Real Radio 92.1 and 101.7. Real talk for the Palm Beaches and the Treasure Coast. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Hey, this is Jimmy D back with the Florida Talk Real Estate Show. We are the longest running real estate show in Florida, not just Palm Beach County, Florida. We've been around a long time, guys, 11 years. And we have a great show today, and I'm so happy that we have our co-host, Ross Komarinetz from Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. You're a co-host, Ross. What are you laughing about?
Well, it makes it more real when there's only two of us. When you say co-host, you know.
You're my favorite person in this room right now, other than me.
Perfect.
And of course, we got Timothy, the producer. How you doing today, Jim?
Hello. I'm well, Jim. I hope you are, and you are as well, Ross. And I hope Bailey is doing well. We'll get back to her story here in a minute.
Yes, we are.
So, yes, thank you very much.
I'm looking at the camera right now. I need a haircut. As soon as I'm done today, I'm going out and getting a haircut today.
I just got mine chopped off yesterday.
I look like the dude for the Big Lebowski or something, man. I will abide.
Dude.
Sorry about that, guys.
Lost your camera.
Yep, no big deal. Let's get Bailey on the air.
Sure, we got Bailey back on with us. Bailey,
Before anything
welcome
else
back
goes
to
wrong.
Florida Talk Real Estate.
Hey, Bailey.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Hello.
If you're watching on YouTube, you're getting a laugh right now. Okay, sorry about that. So, Bailey, when we left off, you had bought a new construction home. You and your husband, Martin, you were so excited. You thought you had your buyer lined up for your house. And then you found out within 65, 70 days of when you needed to close on your new home that your buyer wasn't going to be able to work out for you. And you needed to sell the house pretty quick. So you went ahead and did the for sale by owner thing, and you went through that pain because we just have statistics that only 8% of the people on for sale by owner actually sell for sale by owner. And when I'm saying for sale by owner, I mean the company itself. I'm just talking about selling it yourself without an agent. Only 8% of the sales last year in the United States were for sale by owner, but 15% people tried. So 15%, yeah. So about half sell, half didn't. And that was in the strongest real estate market ever, probably. So can you imagine a regular market or a slow market? What would happen if you try to do for sale by owner? The biggest problem when you do for sale by owner, what you're screaming out usually is that I'm selling my house at a discount.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
That's what people are looking for when they go to for sale by owner. They're not looking to pay retail value. If they could do that on the MLS.
Yeah,
right.
And especially if you're a buyer, it doesn't cost you anything to use an agent. So that's what you just want your agent to go.
Yeah, exactly. So Bailey, raced out to the house. The house was beautiful, right? But we had two little issues about trying to get the most money possible. Compared to the rest of the houses in the neighborhood, our house was on the smaller end. Okay, not tiny or anything, but on the smaller end. And the second thing was her roof. I forgot, you replaced the roof around the time of one of the hurricanes, right?
Correct.
And the problem that they had was everybody was putting roofs on, because I made fun of Martin on the show, kind of saying, "What we don't do something without a permit," because what happened was everybody was trying to put on roofs. The county, the government agencies were overrun. They have relatives in the business, so they knew the roof was going to be done correctly, and they put the roof on because they needed the roof on because they didn't want to have any damage to the property. But they never got around to pulling permits. So it's totally understandable what happened to them.
That happened a lot back in that 05, 06.
Mm-hmm. It happened to me. It happened to me during the when was 05? So 04, when those 3 hurricanes came, one of my roofs got damaged. We did it also. But what we did is we took pictures of everything and then pulled the permits afterwards, and they agreed to use the photos.
Yeah, like in Indian River County, like Indian River, Martin, St. Lucie, that's prevalent during that time. New roofs without permits.
So Bailey, so we talked about that, and then we had a plan on how to deal with it if that roof issue came up. And one of the things I asked you to do was to get a useful life report just to see what was going on. And we had the plan to go ahead and hire a company that Ross uses a lot to do a useful life report just to see what was going on. But we had to put the house on the market really fast. So I think we put the house on the market, within 4 days after you called me? Something like that. It was crazy, like super fast. Got the photographers out there, got the house on the market. Then what happened after we put the house on the market?
Me?
Yeah. What happened then?
Sorry. I was distracted. What happened after we put the house on the market?
Yeah.
The first person that came and saw bought it, but they had a clause about the roof.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted a full replacement.
Yep.
And they wanted us to pay for it.
Yep.
But we said, that's okay. We'll put it back on the market at a higher price, and we will put the roof on.
Mm-hmm. And then that's exactly what happened. So the first person that came wanted to buy the house. Now, it took us like 4 days because we literally got we put the house on the market and had the offer literally the same day. But we didn't go into contract for 4 days. And the reason why we didn't go into contract right away was we were negotiating that darn roof. And I didn't want to give up the full life of the roof because my attitude at the time was, and of course, Bailey and Martin didn't either. And Martin and Bailey's father rebuilt that house. So they're contractors, like not officially contractors, but they know what they're doing and they know the house and they know about roofs and stuff like that. So the roof looked like in really good shape. And I said, I really think it has enough to get Citizens Insurance and then some.
3 years worth.
Yeah, 3 years minimum is the minimum, right, Ross? Is 3 years useful life minimum.
Yep.
And I felt like it had more. I'm not some kind of expert, but just doing this for a long time, the roof looked pretty solid to me. So we didn't cave in. A lot of people would cave in at that point because they were arguing at the time they hadn't tried to go for the insurance. They were just doing this on inspection. So we went back and forth, and then we gave them a credit. Is that correct, Bailey?
Correct. Yeah.
And we only gave them a credit for $4,000. Okay, $4,000 for the roof or whatever they wanted it for. We just gave them $4,000 and said, you deal with whatever you have to deal with. So they said, okay. And then that was the end of the inspection. So we were getting 99% of the list price, the sold price, after we negotiated the inspection. And then they came back to us a little bit later and they said they couldn't get a insurance policy because the roof was past its useful life. But they didn't give us an inspection report and they didn't give us the report that showed the useful life. So we asked them, I asked them on behalf of Bailey and her husband, can you tell me what was the useful years on the roof, useful life? You know what their answer was, Ross? They weren't sure. The inspector, not the family, the inspector wasn't sure. He wasn't sure what the useful life was. I'm like, that isn't an option in that report.
No, that's part of your job.
Yeah,
like that's part of the job. Yeah, and that's the most important part of the job right now. You know, like electrical. Nobody really cares how old your electrical is.
Yeah,
but everybody cares about the opinion of your useful life on your roof.
Yeah. So when they came back, Bailey, what were you thinking? Because now we're even closer, and you right away started thinking, do we have to put this house back on the market? You know, dump this buyer, go back on the market again? And I was
we were stressed out about that.
Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, this is what I was thinking in the back of my head. I wasn't concerned that we would get another buyer, but one of the things that was surprising to me is during that 4 days we were negotiating the deal, we didn't get a lot of showings, right? So even though we got a very strong offer up front, and we had a nibble at that time too, but they walked away. This one stuck, but then we didn't have like a tremendous amount of showings that we could. I wasn't confident that we were going to automatically replace the buyer.
Right,
like,
the next day, like you did.
Yeah, like we used to be able to do. Right.
Right.
So I was like, well, if we walk away from this buyer, is that going to be good for Martin and Bailey? And we were like, well, let's try to, in good faith, negotiate. And let me tell you, the other side, this wasn't on nasty negotiations at all. The realtor, Tammy, she worked for EXP. She was a doll, worked really hard on this case. The family was asking for the new roof. There's no doubt about that. But they didn't do it in a mean, insulting way. It was like you didn't feel like anybody was squeezing you really hard or anything, right, Bailey? Did you feel like that at all?
No. No, it seemed like everybody was trying to, put the best foot forward and make the deal close.
Right. We all wanted it to close. So that was a good thing. So you know what the family did, the buyers did? They did an appeal process for the roof to see if they can get a longer life on the roof. What do they call that, Ross? That appeal process?
I mean, I've never heard of any appeal process.
There is. Yeah, there is.
What it is.
Oh, maybe not.
What happens is if there's no permit pulled, that you can't find a permit, you just have to submit like a full file to Citizens. You submit the policy unbound or the application unbound. And then the underwriters just have to look and say, okay, we can't find a permit, but the roof does appear to be from around that time, and it does have X amount of useful life. We're good with it.
Yeah.
So it's not like I've never heard of it. I don't know. Maybe I just haven't had the chance to appeal something, but I've never heard of a.
Well, maybe I'm probably using the wrong terminology, but because when we do the mortgage, if the appraisal doesn't come in, I call it an appeal. Like if you say to the appraiser, "Hey, you're crazy. You're too low, or whatever." but they call it a reconsideration.
Okay.
But to me, it's an appeal, right? It's like,
Because
hey, I don't agree.
with Citizens, when you're binding the policy, you're entering the permit information or not.
Mhm.
So you can either bind a policy and dummy in a permit, which you'll get dinged for,
Mhm.
or you know that you just have to submit it directly to the underwriter. So,
Right.
so I don't know where somebody's been denied and then
So-
had to appeal and
so
go
what-
forth from there. That's why I don't.
What they ended up saying in this case was Citizens said, okay, we're going to go ahead and take the policy, but it's only going to be good for this year. And then I'm sure they could have done the same thing next year if they wanted to, like go through that process, say, hey, my roof is still good.
Yeah.
But, as a buyer, that's not a fun thing to be thinking about when you're buying the new home, right? It's like, I don't know what's going to happen to me next year and the year after. I don't know what's happening. So they just caved in and they said, hey, we want the new roof now. So instead of taking a $4,000 credit, now they wanted a credit for the whole roof, right, Bailey?
Yeah, $12K.
Yeah. And $12K was actually probably a good deal because Bailey had people in the industry that were giving her an awesome deal to do that roof, right? So so they wanted the full price. We had it took like 10 days or something for the Citizens to respond back whether they were going to insure or not. So we had already had our plan as to what we would respond with if they came back and said they wanted a new roof, if Citizens approved it. So since Citizens approved it, what did we tell them, Bailey? What did we tell the buyers?
We said that you can have the credit, or we're going to pull the deal. We're going to put on the roof and relist it for a higher price.
Yeah, and I felt like we could do that. I felt like if we put the new roof on, then the house would have impact windows, brand new roof, brand new kitchen, brand new bathrooms, brand new all these upgrades, brand new appliances, everything. I think even the AC and the water heater were only a couple of years old. So it would have been effectively a brand new house, and it would have been super desirable. So we weren't being rude to the other side. We were just like, look, we're not taking that much of a hit. And then they came back, and the result was they went back to the $4,000 credit. And Bailey, your family was okay with that, right? Because you had agreed with that originally.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. And then we closed on Tuesday. And did you guys have your steak dinner yet?
We're actually going to go tonight.
Oh, good.
When you close
Where are
on
we
the new
meeting up?
construction.
I'm sorry, Ross.
Would
I
you
just
like?
stepped
Yeah,
on
would you
you.
like Timothy to come?
Where are we going?
Sure. Come on, Timothy.
When does the new construction close?
It's going to close in mid-April, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, that's what they're telling us. But again, we don't have an affirmed date yet. But they're saying in April.
How much relief do you guys feel? I know that you're living with friends or relatives right now temporarily, and you're probably going to be there a month or so. But do you feel any relief now knowing that you're primed and ready to go and you can pull the trigger and the money's in the bank? You don't have to worry about anything? How much relief is that to you?
Absolutely. Tremendous. It's there. We have a cushion. It was an easy process because we worked with you, and fortunately we had good buyers. But yeah, we're just so thankful it's sold.
Yeah. I'm really glad. To me, it was overall a pretty smooth process. The whole roof thing was a bumpy road, but we've been there, done that so many times. Did you feel confident when we were talking about that the first time we were sitting down and actually talking about the age of the roof and how that affects insurance and how it might affect the buyer's offers before we even put it on the market? It kind of happened the way I described it was going to happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we were prepared because, you gave us the truth and the advice that we needed to hear. So
I really appreciate that. One last thing, Bailey. Can you please tell the audience if you would recommend that you come and work with this team? And do we really say what we see on the air? Is it really like that off air? Because that's the big thing everybody says with us. It's like, you're just like you act just like you're on the air. And I'm like, yeah, because we're all being real people here.
yeah. So the gym you get on the air is the same gym that you get when you sit down at the table and you go over all everything. So it's definitely would recommend you and the team for sure. You're very clear, very thorough. You don't miss a beat, and we really appreciated that. And thank you for the whole team that helped. And I'm sorry that you guys have a skeleton crew there today.
I know. I wanted you to talk to Johnny, so we're going to get you back on again so Johnny could be on the show. How about that? I was so disappointed when Johnny said he couldn't come in today.
Everybody wants to talk to Johnny.
I know. Everybody wants to talk to Johnny. I don't blame him. So, but Bailey, thank you so much. I hope you have an awesome weekend. I hope you pick the right temperature for that bone-in on the ribeye or whatever you're going to buy today. Because they're going to ask that question. What would you like your bone temperature to be on your steak?
If you're getting the bone-in ribeye, go to Blackbird. That thing is awesome.
I haven't been there yet. I want to go there.
Their bone-in ribeye is crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, I hope you have an awesome weekend, Bailey. Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Take
you
care.
so much for calling in. Bye-bye.
Real quick, on the flip side, if they had, they didn't have, you meant, if they couldn't sell their house in time to close on the new construction, then they would lose their deposit.
Well, potentially. The contract says that they would lose the deposit. In real life, I don't know if that's actually what would happen, but it's super stressful.
But
right?
also, so like what happens, like in this case, they sold their house in time and they're supposed to close like March 15th originally.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a process where they can get out of that contract? Because, hey, man, this is taking too long. I got to go live somewhere else.
You mean getting
out of the new construction contract?
I don't know the answer to that because I wasn't involved in the purchase of that home, so I didn't see the contract. That's one thing is, and this is one of the reasons why you may want to use a realtor when you're buying new construction. We would have tried to have in that clause some kind of out for them just in case something bad happened. Now, you're not sure if developers are going to take that or not, but you could at least try or try to work something out. Or maybe you come up with a smaller deposit at the beginning and then a heftier deposit later, just to protect yourself. But I'm not saying they did anything wrong or anything, but I don't know their contracts. But it's always good to have a realtor on your side to go through that kind of stuff. And the other thing is, because the market has shifted a lot and developers actually have inventory now, so they're actually selling new construction homes that were built but don't have a buyer now, which is the way it used to be, but it was very uncommon. Now it's becoming more common. So they probably would have worked with this family if they just needed a couple extra weeks or a month. They probably would have worked with them. But during the boom, boom, boom part, they might have lost their deposit. I know of a couple of one family I know lost $50,000 deposit because they couldn't close on time. And the developer's like, that's okay.
We got four other people right behind them.
4 other people we're going to pay that are going to pay more than what you're paying right now.
Right.
And the problem that they had was this was last year. It's when the interest rates went up too high. So there was nothing that the family could know in advance that was going to screw up the deal.
Right.
Because they were locked in at, let's say, 4.5, and then it got to 6.5. Couldn't afford the house anymore.
Wow.
That's why they didn't get it, and they lost the deposit.
Wow.
So you don't want to be in that kind of situation. So if you're thinking new construction, give us a call. We'd love to talk to you about all your options and also how to protect yourself and make sure that you're going the right way. The other thing that I can really give advice on is picking the right part of the community to build in, and the kind of features you put into the house. Some people, in their choice of selections for finishes or upgrades or the lot, don't make the best choice for them in the long run. It might be good for right now, and there's some tips that we could give you about that. So if you're thinking new construction, think of us. We'd love to talk to you. And we're live right now, guys. Tom has called and Bailey has called. So if you'd like to call the show, all you got to do is call 877-927-6969. If you guys are reaching out to YouTube and Facebook today, I can't deal with it today. So hello, everybody, because I'm Jimmy D, stepping in for Johnny C, so I can only do so many things at one time. So please give us a call, 877-927-6969. Maybe you have a question about the real estate market or insurance. Everybody's got questions about insurance today. You got to call right now and talk to Ross Komarinetz. He'll be your guy to give you the answers, real answers, as to help you out with your needs. So give us a call live. And if you want to talk to us off air, you can use our 888 number, which is 888-973-7828. and that's our live hotline. But the easiest thing to do, guys, is just go to floridatalkrealestate.com. We have a contact page there. It says contact us. You can get all the information there, and you can talk to our live 24/7 operator by calling the 888 number or just reaching out by text or email. One last thing I wanted to say about this, guys, is starting, I think, hopefully next week. This is exciting. Anybody has a question about insurance, mortgages, refis, loans, buying a house, selling a house, any kind of those questions, you're going to be able to go into our website and then click for a 30-minute chat with me. So you can schedule it online without even talking to anybody and just schedule, hey, I want to talk to Jim for 30 minutes, or I got an insurance question, and we'll give you a free 30-minute consultation and get you over to the right team member, because we are the one-stop real estate shop. So any questions you have, you can even actually schedule a time to talk to us through the computer system. So that's pretty cool through our website. So I'm looking forward to
that. Is that how we get in touch with you from now on?
Yeah. Everybody has to go through that, right?
Chat
exactly. Yeah.
I had a question too, following up on Bailey's situation there. And actually Ross asked it from one side, and my thinking, or the question I had, was the opposite, where what if the new house wasn't ready yet? This house is sold, and really more generalizing it to new construction. So if you're selling your house, a new house is being built, trying to get that closing date when you're a buyer seller. What happens when the inspections aren't done yet, or something happens, it rains and they can't build a house? I mean, I'm being
supply chain problems, right? I remember back 6 months ago, I don't know if it's still like this, but nobody could get impact sliding glass doors. It was impossible.
Okay.
Right? It was getting so bad that developers were changing it to French doors just so they can close on the houses, because they couldn't get impact sliding glass doors. So some families are like, just put the French doors in because I need a close. So here's the thing. That's one of the things you have to talk about when you're a seller buyer and you're trying to do the simultaneous close as best you can. You have to talk about that. So when I talked to Bailey and Martin about it, what they said is that they already had family members that they could move in temporarily if they needed to.
Okay.
And we were trying to find a buyer that would close later, but this family needed to close even earlier than we did, but they will only give us a little time. And then they had to make a decision. Is it worth taking this offer and having the inconvenience of kind of putting stuff in storage and then moving again, going to the transition home with their relatives? And then it's almost the equivalent of 2 moves in a way.
Basically, move it twice.
Or wait for another buyer that would give them the better time frame. So they decided to take the money and run, which I don't blame them, especially in that market. Yeah.
Especially with the ease of, it's still hard, but you can go live with family. It's not like you're like, I got to find an Airbnb for 2 months.
Exactly.
Or I don't know how long.
Right. Or Stay America or things like that, which could get expensive. So yes, you have to really worry about that, Jimmy.
That position is a little bit easier than if you need the money from the, and what Ross was asking, where you need the money from the sale of the first house in order to be able to close on the second. So that situation is a little bit more difficult. If you got to move twice, you got to move twice. It's not great or convenient, but at least it's an option.
Right. And
you've got the money from the first sale.
Sometimes, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. Like what will happen is sometimes people will have multiple pets. I remember one lady, she had 4 dogs. Well, she wasn't going to Stay America or something for a period of time. Like 2 of them were Rottweilers, right? So we're talking big, humongous beasts, right?
Yep.
So that wasn't happening, right? So those people, you have to really come up with a plan.
Sure.
Hey, I think it's about time to take the break. We're going to go ahead and take the break. When we come back, we're going to talk about area codes and life in area codes, because move over 561, there's a new area code in town. We're going to talk about that on the flip side.
Introducing the latest way to hear the greatest station in the world. Tell your smart device to play Real Radio 92.1 on iHeartRadio.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're top when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rao from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rao will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rao, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Komarinetz, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561
But the guy, you know, like, if you understand the
drop by his
game,
office at
just
873
like
Donald
if
Ross
not,
Road.
like he's cool to you.
So now
You
you know
know,
what?
yeah, but if you
Part
kind
of
of give
the
like
Florida
people,
Talk Real
you know,
Estate
like, what's
Show,
going on?
the
Let's make,
longest
like,
running real
then
estate
it
show
gets
in
right
Florida.
back. Yeah.
And all these sponsors are just a
Because
phone
like
call
I'm in
or a
there,
click away.
with my
Just
daughter
call
and his time,
888-973-7828.
and
That's
he's like, oh, what car do you like? I'll bring the pizza out.
888-973-7828.
You know,
Or
you
go to
just sit in the car with your daughter, you know, so
floridatalkrealestate.com.
they're-
That's
It is pizza nachos,
floridatalkrealestate.com.
but they're cool.
Don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
From the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios.
Have you been in an accident? Call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Real Radio 92.1 is WZZR West Palm Beach, an iHeartRadio station.
Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Hey, this is Jimmy D for the Florida Talk Real Estate Show. It's we got the next hour, right? Are we at 10 o'clock now? Yeah. So we got another hour left. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. But the first thing we're going to do is one of our longtime fans and a really favorite customer of mine, Susan. She asked a question, does Ross sell commercial insurance? If so, I need him to call me next week, exclamation point. So do you do commercial insurance?
I do, but I don't like to. I think there's people that are better at it than me.
Could you refer Susan to a good commercial broker?
Absolutely.
I love Ross. This is awesome. He always honest guy, right? Okay, so Susan, I'm going to reach out to you on Monday. I'm going to send an email out to you and Ross, and you can reach out to Ross or Rodolfo, and then they'll give you the proper commercial recommendation. Okay, Susan.
Speaking of
you're
Ross,
having a great.
one of the best parts about being able to watch the show is that Ross put on his Jedi cloak. So now, do you have your lightsaber with you?
Oh man, I wish. It'd probably heat me up. I just kind of I bet that lightsaber puts out some heat.
I know, it's
Freezing in here.
cold in that studio. Ooh, and you left the door open to let a little bit of warm air in.
Oh yeah.
I know
Turn that
exactly,
space
right?
heater on there, Jim, if you want.
Yes. Is this just because of Franny? Is this,
No,
I have a
she doesn't
feeling
like
that,
it. No,
oh, she
nobody
doesn't
likes
like it either?
No, it's where the thermostat is.
Ah.
It's in the engineering room. So it's always warm in the engineering room. So the thermostat's never satisfied. So it keeps pumping out cold air.
Have you been up to the PSL studio in a long time?
I have not even stepped foot in our new building up there.
You have a new building up there?
Yeah, up in Tradition.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the old studio where we were at on Jennings Road.
Am I going to shed a tear right now?
That doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, I'm shedding a tear.
No
I
way.
have so many good memories about that place.
It's well, I don't want to say it's been gutted, but like we've taken all the radio part out because they sold the building.
Oh.
And the transmitter is still there. Yeah, that doesn't go away because we don't own that. That's owned by other people now. Our tower.
Well, I have a really important question.
Sure.
What happened to the lizard in the coffin? Did
they
bring it? Did they bring it over?
What happened with that? That is a good question. I have to find out.
They bring it over.
I think it might have just.
Do you remember?
Gone
Yeah, it
away.
might just disappeared.
I think it just went away.
When they there was a lizard in the old PSL studio, and there was a lizard that had crawled up the wall of the studio.
Yeah.
And
Now the
there
walls
was carpeted. They had carpeting on it, right? So that's how the lizard climbed up it. And then it got caught in the carpeting, and it died, and nobody took it off the wall, so it kind of mummified there.
Yeah.
So then they started talking about it all the time in the Love Doctors. It became this like talking point. So then some guy, I don't know who it was, that is a big fan of the show. He made a coffin for it with a light, and it had a glass top. So they took the coffin and they attached it to the wall around the lizard, and then put the light on.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a light that turned it off, so you could see the lizard in the coffin, right? And I was fascinated with that. So on my show, when I heard about it driving around, because I'm a big Love Doctor fan, when I was driving around, I came back to the studio and I saw the coffin there. So I turned the light on, messing around.
I don't
with the
remember
light.
this thing.
Oh yeah, and I turned the light on and off. It was right behind, where the big chair was.
Where the
It was
host
right
sits,
behind.
yeah.
Yeah. And apparently I turned the light on and I forgot to shut it off. So by the time the Love Doctors came back, the battery died. And there was no way, the way they made the coffin, there was no way to replace the battery. So light didn't work anymore.
You'd have to take it off the wall.
Yeah,
and it wasn't really meant to be removable when they put it up there.
They were not happy. And then they turned it into a bit and blamed Johnny, because they were like, and I was listening all week long about this.
Now, did they know it was you?
No,
Nobody knew.
They thought it was Johnny. So they started talking on the air and complaining about Johnny, about how Johnny doesn't leave the studio right. He's the only one that was there over the weekend because he's got the locker room and the Florida Talk Real Estate show. So it's all Johnny's fault. They kept beating up on Johnny all week long. I knew it was kind of a bit, but I wasn't sure how much of a bit it was. So one day I felt bad and I called up and I fessed up that I was the guy that turned the light on and didn't shut it off. And Dr. Rich got so mad at me because it was a bit and I destroyed the bit. He wanted the bit to keep going, and I kind of like uncovered the bit. He was upset with me. So sorry, Dr. Rich. I know I love you because
We opened the curtain, you saw curtains, and you saw Oz.
Yeah. And so that's when I learned, don't F with the studio, right? Don't F with the studio. Anyway, I just want to round out just real quick. One more shout out because it's very important, because it's a teachable moment here. I wanted to give a shout out to Robert and David. They are first-time home buyers. I'm so happy for them. They tried to buy a property with us last year, and the deal fell apart at the last minute. They didn't have time to find a new property because their lease was ending, so they had to go ahead and rent for another year. They came back to us towards the end of their lease, and we were able to get them into a really nice townhome in Deerfield, so I'm very, very happy for them. And Robert and David, we just had the inspection on, I think we went into contract on Tuesday, had the inspection on Wednesday. Thursday, we negotiated a little thing. We're on to the appraisal right now. It looks like we're going to close March 31st. Thanks, Mike. Ralph from the mortgage firm. He is going to be the mortgage broker for this deal, and he helped Robert build his credit and fix everything in order to become a first-time home buyer. They're using a $10,000 down payment assistance program, which is really helping them out.
Nice.
That was awesome, and I expect that they're going to be using Ross Komarinetz from Brightway Insurance Juno Beach for the insurance policy when they're doing this. So I'm really excited for them. They got a townhome that has a brand new roof, so they don't have to worry about assessments going up or anything like that. Even though the roof's covered, they don't even have to worry about that. And then this place also has impact windows. It's got a really nice lake view. The inside's needs a little bit of updating, but everything's functionally sound. We just went through the inspection. And when you're a first-time home buyer, that in this tough market with higher interest rates, sometimes you have to give up a little something. So they gave up a little square footage. They would have liked to have a third bedroom, but took two. And also the house wasn't fully updated, but the house is great, and there's room for improvement over time. And they're in the market now. Now they're part of the real estate market. They're not just renters at the whim of their landlord telling them what their rent's going to be. Now they're going to control their financial situation, get great tax breaks, and over time get appreciation. So yes, you can be a first-time home buyer. And let me tell you something. I don't want to go into the price, but these people bought their place for under $300,000, which is a very good deal in today's market.
Deerfield.
Yes, in
That's
Deerfield
Broward.
Beach. Yes.
Holy smokes.
So you can do this. It's not for the faint of heart. You have to have some tough skin and have a tough exterior and know that you're going to get it. And you need an agent and a team that's going to have your back all the time and look at every day and being super aggressive. That house wasn't on the market more than 2 days by the time we got out there to look at it. And as soon as we saw return in the offer, immediately to block everybody else out, because there were a stream of people going through that house when we were trying to sell.
Yeah,
So,
just at that price point.
Yes, at that price point, it's going so quick. If it's priced right, it's going quick. We had to give them full asking on that one too. I normally don't go full asking, but it was priced right. Some of the other houses were selling 10 to 13% higher closed than our unit. So we felt like they gave a good price. We're going to give them a good offer because if they were going to be homeless on March 31st if we didn't get into that deal. We put them into the deal on Monday or Tuesday. Okay, so
we got to get everything rolling.
Yeah, so Mike is working.
That's where
really
Mike
hard.
is today. Yeah, that's where Mike is today.
So if you're a buyer and you're thinking, or you want to be a buyer and you're thinking, there's no way it's happening with the crazy interest rates and prices haven't dropped, they're probably not going to drop much for a little bit. So and the interest rates might start getting higher. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So if you're thinking about being a buyer and you want to use a good system on how to make this process smooth, you got to call the Florida Home Pros, which is my team over here at Keller Williams Innovations. So give us a call. How do you do that? You can call 888-973-7828. And we have a 24/7 live operator to take your detailed question or need with a live person. We get automatically notified. As long as it isn't 2 o'clock in the morning or I'm in a meeting, you get a call right back. If not, we call you back as soon as we can. And you can go to floridatalkrealestate.com. So check that out if you're interested. So 561. I remember when Palm Beach County, area code 561, I remember when Palm Beach County was a actually Palm Beach County at one point was a 305 area code. And then it went to, then Broward got too big, so they changed it to 954, right? So now we had a 305, 954. I think Palm Beach County was 954 back then, if I'm not mistaken.
So they split off.
I don't remember us ever. I mean, maybe they added a 9. I don't remember ever having a 954 number.
You're like switching over?
Yeah, like ever having one.
I don't remember 561 being. Maybe it went from immediately. Maybe they did this. Maybe it was Dade 305, Dade, Broward, Palm 305. Then they got 954 because the 305s were running out. And they used 954 just for Broward and Palm, because Palm was much smaller than Broward and Dade at that time. And then when it got too much for the 954, I think they went to the 561. And then there's the 754, right? We had the 754, which I don't remember where that came in.
I'm not familiar with 754.
Wait, did you look that up, Russ? Type in 754 area code. And then also 386, right? Isn't that being through?
That's 786.
786.
386, I think, is the West Coast.
Sorry, yes, 786. Yeah, it's 786, not 754. I don't know. I was thinking it was 754. So we're growing and growing and growing as we've been talking about. Everybody's
754 is Broward.
Broward, yeah. So 954 got too crowded, so they split it off 754, right? And 954, and now we have 561, and now we have the new one. And I don't remember what the new one is. Hold on one second.
728.
728? Oh, I was going to say 328. Yeah, so the new one is 728. Now, what I want to know is, are we going to have a Seinfeld moment in Palm Beach County?
That's what I was just thinking, the same thing.
Tell me about that. So what were you thinking?
No, I was just wondering, nobody wants that new area
I don't want
code.
I don't want the 728.
Yeah.
I want my 561.
Exactly.
So Elaine in Seinfeld, Ross must be a big Seinfeld too. Elaine in Seinfeld, she got very upset when they changed her phone number to a new area code in Manhattan, because now it didn't like she was in the right part of Manhattan anymore. And then she was loving it. So I wonder if 728 is going to consider that way.
I mean, I still rock the 850 myself.
Yeah, I had the 954 since like 1992 or something.
And now I don't even want to get a new one because I don't want a 728.
I know, right? Why would I even do that, right? It doesn't really matter. But here's the other thing is the only change is now you definitely have to dial all 10 digits. And the reason why, with 728, there's a national 911 system or something that has the same digits or something like this. And because of that, everybody now got to dial the 10 digits. So you got to dial the 10 digits to do the phone number now. That's just the way it is.
Who's dialing phones these days?
I know, right?
Like everything is a click on your link and it dials from your phone. And
yep. So it's pretty amazing about the changes. It just shows how much everything's growing down here. So now let's get into home insurance. Speaking of growing, okay, we hit a milestone with the Citizens Insurance. It's not necessarily a good milestone. We are now at 2 million policyholders with the Citizens Insurance. Now, for years and years, I think we got up to the last time that Citizens was the policy of need at the time. I think we got up to like 1.6 million policyholders, and that was too risky, the state said. So that what they were trying to do is slough off those people into the private industry to kind of get it off the.
They prefer to call it their depopulation program.
I call it sloughing off. Depopulation. I feel like Orwellian there. But what happened was they did get it down from like 1.5, just to round it out to down to 500,000 policyholders at one point, if I'm not mistaken. They got that low. And then we started getting these problems, and then we started losing more insurance companies ever than the history of the United States, either dissolved because they went bankrupt, or they just decided they didn't want to be part of the Florida home insurance market. And so then Citizens became the insurer of last resort, became the insurer of only resort almost.
Yeah.
And now we're up to almost 2 million. So we're even past the peak that we had before. So that's kind of interesting, I think. And Ross, what do you think the trend of that's going to be? That's not going to change for a while, right? We're probably still going to be citizens for a while, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think so. We got to wait and see how the changes that we made in December regarding like one-way attorney's fees and things like that will slow down the lawsuits and stop the companies from kind of hemorrhaging cash and be able to start to offer a rate that is competitive to Citizens, because Citizens is a kind of subsidized rate, basically, just because they're regulated on how much they can increase the rate. So, hopefully we'll see some more competition, maybe get some new companies that hadn't wanted to come in and get into this mess, and so maybe if we can slow down that mess, maybe we'll get some more competition and, hopefully see some relief in those premiums.
Yeah, Timothy.
Well, I was going to ask because you explained when they did this, and the governor signed this back in December. And for layman's people, I mean, how does that change it and make it cheaper? How does that bring down the rates?
So
Because you've taught me fraud's like the biggest problem,
Right.
And that wasn't really addressed.
No, so that was, yes. So that's what was primarily addressed, is the reason that the companies were going out of business and they were running out of money is because of what's called one-way attorney's fees.
Mhm.
So the attorney or the insured that wanted to sue the insurance company didn't have to have any skin in the game, and if they won or even threatened and got a settlement, the insurance company had to pay the plaintiff's attorney's fees.
Okay.
So they're just throwing, the attorneys are just saying, "Hey, let us sue the insurance company. Let us sue the insurance company."
I hear
they'll
radio
win one of them.
advertisements. I hear them all the time. I want to sue your homeowner's insurance.
Right. So if they win at least one, that pays for all the ones that they didn't. So, and if they win one, the insurance companies are paying all of their fees, not the insured who is suing the company.
Okay.
So that's what's causing all the insurance companies to lose all that money, is they're just paying attorney's fees.
When I had my lawsuit with my homeowner's insurance policy, what the attorney that we hired said, because I was worried about that, I said, well, what happens if we lose? Because we went through heck for 14 months fighting for an insurance claim on our house. And the attorney said, don't worry about it. As long as I win $1, all I have to do is win $1. As long as I win $1 from the insurance company, they're paying. And I go, well, what's the likelihood you're going to win $1? He goes, they'll settle with you for something. They're just not giving you what you deserve. So let's just go for it. So we said, okay.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of crazy town. So
did they address the fraud part of it, where somebody doesn't really need a new roof, but they're suing for a new roof?
Well,
or was that not an issue?
So what they did is they said, okay, Jimmy, you want to sue your insurance company? You have to hire an attorney to do that. You have to pay the attorney.
Okay.
The attorney's not just throwing garbage at the wall to see what's going to stick.
So now the incentive is gone.
The incentive is now gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So the hope is that attorneys are going to say, I don't want to take this junky case because I might lose, or the owners might say, I don't want to go ahead and go through something because I really don't have a claim.
Right.
And it's not worth it. Yeah. Right. Okay. And it's like, I don't want to take the chance of losing and then being forced to deal with the attorney fees.
So they did address it.
Absolutely.
Okay. And that's that was my concern, because I couldn't really get that out, but now that you explained it into a way that I can understand.
So now if a new company comes in, they don't have to worry about being sued. So hopefully it'll attract some new business, new companies are going to come in here and start to offer coverage.
And competition breeds lower premiums.
Exactly.
And maybe these regulations are going to put a dent in the problem, because the National Institute of Crime Bureau is a think tank that specializes in fraud across the country. Says thank you to the Florida legislators for creating these new laws to try to stamp out fraud.
Okay.
So this group is kind of backing, saying whatever the state legislatures are coming up with is positive. Now, it isn't just homeowners insurance, because they were talking about civil jury. They're also the Florida legislature is trying to clamp down on the amount of awards that civil juries give plaintiffs to make sure that they're not too high. That is raising a red flag with me, because usually that tells me that's a big business benefit. And we're not talking about homeowners insurance. We're talking about companies getting slammed with huge legal judgments. You know what? Sometimes companies should be slammed with huge legal judgments, not all the time. So I'd like to know more about it. But the industry insiders are saying we're trying to head in the right direction to get this stuff under control. It's going to be years, though, like Ross has mentioned to us before. This isn't going to be a light switch where things, just because the law was passed, that people's premiums are going to go down. They're probably going to continue to go up for a while until we start seeing that these companies are making more profits, actually becoming profitable. And then, just like that cycle we went through last time, we started seeing the rates going down dramatically. And then that's where, the Florida Talk real estate thing kicked in.
Yeah.
Helped a lot of people get lower premiums.
But really, the only way that the prices are going to go back down is to get more insurance companies to come back into Florida and offer coverage, correct? I mean, typically, once prices go up, they don't come back down, and less competition drives that down.
Right. But also, if the insurance company doesn't have to kind of take a portion of the premium that they're charging and allocate it to, hey, we might be sued. And now they don't have to charge you that. And so now that your premium would be potentially reduced by that amount.
Right.
As well.
Now, what is it with Citizens? Because I know it's coming up for me too pretty soon. So we'll be in contact again coming up in June-ish area. What is the amount that Citizens can increase each year? Isn't that capped?
This year is 12%.
12%?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, the rate can only go up 12%, but we've been seeing Citizens increase the dwelling coverage, which causes all the other coverages to increase as well. So, wow. And it's good. It's good for you. You know, it's good for the insured, but it's oftentimes it's a shock to the premium as well.
Yeah, because it's a double whammy. Not only do they get that increase, plus the value of the home goes up. So because of that, the cost of coverage goes up because
correct.
you have
So,
to have more coverage.
Your rate may go up. You know, your premium might go up by 30%.
Right.
But your rate really only went up by 12%. But the 12% on the additional coverage causes it to be higher.
Yep.
On a dollar basis.
Something that I didn't take into consideration sometimes when I saw the big gap and the big jumps was the fact that the value of the home went up so much.
Right.
So obviously that increases the price as well.
Yeah, but the rate itself is capped at 12.
Okay.
Hey, we're going to take a break in just a second. So if you have any questions about the real estate market, give us a call live on air. We'd love to talk to you. Any kind of questions, insurance questions, selling a house question, buying a house question, mortgage questions, interest rate questions. We're here for you. We'd love to talk to you about your experience of what's happening in the real estate market. Maybe you're buying a house and it's sitting there on the market. It isn't moving. Maybe you're trying to buy a house. Did I say buy a house and sit on the market and not moving? Sell a house and not sitting there not moving. But or you're trying to buy a house and you're not sure what to do because these interest rates are scooting up right now. Give us a call, 877-927-6969. We'll call you on the next segment. I just want to wrap up with this, though, at the end. Thank you, Martha. I know that Martha's listened to us a few times in the past. She became our Mike Brown today because she has information on area codes that I should have done research on. So let me read you this because it's good stuff, okay, about area codes, okay? She says, according to the internet, Broward began using area code 99. Broward began using the area code 954 in 1995. That's how long ago. I remember I got mine. That must be the year I got my 954 number because I've had it ever since. I thought I got mine in 94, so it must have been 95. And then 754 was only added in 2022. I didn't know it was added that recently. I thought it'd been around longer than that. And then Palm Beach County, we had 305, and we didn't go to 561 right away. Martha corrected me, which is great. And we went from 305 to 407. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
So we went to 407. And then we went to 561, and then 407 is still in the northern part, north of us. So I thought that was kind of funny. So I forgot about the whole 407 in Palm Beach County. That's the one I was thinking. So time flies and I'm getting old. That's what it's telling me. So on the flip side, we're going to start talking about the real estate market. Let me tell you, a lot of stuff is going on. Interest rates keep rising. Employers keep hiring. Will the Fed keep raising? That's what we're going to talk about on the flip side.
All right. We'll be right back.
Got something to say? Text us at 47142. Start your message with Real Radio. Standard data and messages apply and don't text while driving.
Because that camera.
I'm not in.
Gordon & Partners Weather Center. If you or a loved one been injured through no fault of your own, call 561-333-3333 or go to fortheinjured.com.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Collins with CBS World News. Mostly sunny this afternoon with highs in the lower to middle 80s and a northwest breeze between 15 to 20 miles per hour. A shower chance through this evening, then partly cloudy and breezy tonight with lows in the upper 50s inland and 60s at the coast Sunday morning.
This report is sponsored by the Florida Department of Transportation. Hey, listeners, before celebrating St. Patrick's Day this year, remember to plan ahead and know all your options. If you drink, don't get behind the wheel. Instead, designate a sober driver or catch a ride service. And if you are the designated sober driver, commit to staying sober. Don't let your luck run out.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rao from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rao will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rao, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Komarinetz, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home. Or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
This is Real Radio 92.1 and 101.7. Real talk for the Palm Beaches and the Treasure Coast. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Yes, that's right. Give us a call. We're live right now, 877-927-6969. We'd love to hear any questions you have about real estate, anything in the world of real estate. Give us a call. We'd love to talk to you live on air, 877-927-6969. Or you can call us off air with any questions you want 24/7 live with a live operator by calling 888-973-7828. Or you could just go ahead and go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's a lot easier to remember, floridatalkrealestate.com. Hey, we're going to go into the market update right now to round out the hour. And I want to start off with the Silicon Valley Bank situation. Okay. What I'm wondering is this the beginning of the end? Meaning that we're going to go through a crash? Because this bank, Ross, when I'm reading about it, I read a lot about it yesterday. It's in the top 20 largest banks.
16.
Yeah. Yep. And that's pretty interesting.
And
but,
it's interesting, and it's because they played it safe.
Mhm.
Attempted to play it safe.
Exactly.
That's what's crazy is they attempted to play it
Yeah,
safe.
so let's explain to the public and I'm getting this off of news articles. I'm not a banker, so I'm not sure I understand all of this. And I'm always honest with people, but this is what I gleaned.
If we're wrong, blame the Wall Street Journal.
Yes, exactly. Because that's where we put a lot of the information on it. So this is what happened. SVB or Silicon Valley Bank is basically more well known in the tech circles, and it was worth about $200 billion, which made it the 16th largest bank in the country. And it's the largest bank to collapse since Washington Mutual back in the last crash. Now, the reason why it crashed was they had a lot of capital assets, but for whatever reason, there were a bunch of investors that wanted to start pulling or depositors wanted to start pulling money out, and they weren't sure they were going to have enough cash to take care of their obligations. So they went out and sold some of their liquid assets. And the liquid assets included some long-term bonds that hadn't matured yet. So they took about an 8% loss on the stuff they sold. I calculated, Ross, it was only 8% loss. So they didn't dump it. They took an 8% loss. And the reason why they were doing that, at least what they're saying right now, is they were trying to make sure they had enough money and being responsible to have enough money in case other people wanted to take their deposits out. And they made an announcement that they were doing this, and it made everybody scared. So that made more people want to take the money out. And then there was a run on the bank. And on Friday, yesterday, while the stock market was live, they took over and seized the bank and shut down the trading.
Wow.
And they say they're going to pay all the depositors that have insured money in there. They're going to get their money on Monday. But this is more than just a little tiny bank closing. Apparently, this bank represented half of the startup countries in the country.
It was like if you were getting like a VC money from that area, it was like in the contract that you transacted through that bank.
Yes, and now they don't think there's enough money in there to cover everybody because most of the people have more than the $250,000 limit for bank accounts FDIC insured. It only goes up to $250,000. I read one company, they had 8 figures in their account, and
because these are all big tech companies that banked with these guys,
and now aren't sure. A lot of them aren't sure and hadn't, as of yesterday, made their payroll because they don't have any money because the bank isn't giving their money back because they don't have it.
Yeah.
So what we're saying now, this is what national economists are saying right now. This is a contained event because this is very tech stock specific because everything we're dealing with are all tech companies, and tech isn't doing very well right now. So that's why they're saying, don't worry about this. Don't look at the man behind the curtain. Everything's fine. But that's exactly what they said when Bear Stearns collapsed. Bear Stearns was the first company that collapsed at the time when we went through the last crash. And everybody said, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And the thing that was the thing that made me, the part that made me interested in this was thinking back to the day back then, is that nobody knew about mortgage-backed securities back then. Remember when everybody was getting that easy money to get loans? You fog a mirror, you get a loan. Well, what people didn't understand is how that was happening, and what they were doing was they were leveraging all these loans that weren't really vetted very well, and then trying to leverage that money to sell more loans, and it became too big and it collapsed. But nobody would have expected that, except for a few people. The Big Short movie, there were a couple people, but most of the people had no idea that that was happening. And what I'm wondering right now, is this something like that just comes out of the blue that nobody expected? And that's what took us down last time. And would that happen this time? We don't know yet. Jimothy, I want to get into more of this, but you said there's a caller on the air?
Caller
Awesome.
has a question about citizens. You want to take that? Or
Yeah, no, that's important. No,
Okay.
we always take the callers first.
Excellent.
Always.
Well,
Yep.
John was nice enough to call in. He has a question, I guess, for all three of us, or more probably for Ross, about citizens insurance. John, welcome to Florida Talk Real Estate.
Hey, John.
Hey guys, appreciate your show, man. I mean, I'm not really available to take stock in all the stuff you guys talk about, but I mean, I am a homeowner, and I do have some citizens questions. We bought a home in a retirement community, single family home, and we paid cash for the house. When we wanted to buy it, we wanted to just get insurance for just liability and interior of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a hard time coming up with insurance companies that would take us on. Citizens did, and we're paying like right about 16 or 17 for that now. But I'm just wondering, and we actually put a new roof on the house too. So do I need to update that with them, or
How old was your old roof?
see that themselves?
How old was your old roof?
The old one was 15 years and nobody would touch us.
Okay. So, I mean, you can,
Actually, we were touched with two different companies, but then like a month later they canceled us because they saw it was 15 years.
I mean, your policy won't get any cheaper with Citizens, but it'd be worth updating them just so that they don't come back and, because I'm sure you probably actually, so this is a condo, right? Or it's considered a condo policy?
No.
But
No. It's a single family, single structure.
But how are you only insuring the interior?
Because I'm
Well,
assuming because it's cash.
Well, I shouldn't say that. We're not doing hurricane because we don't have a mortgage.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, you can always update them so that they have it.
If you didn't update it, what would happen? They would eventually come back to him and say, "Hey, your roof is old. We want you to do something with it." You go, "Oh, I replaced it last year."
Pretty
and
much.
You just give them that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not going to make your policy any cheaper by.
Okay, and then what is the negative of me doing that as far as with having just no hurricane protection? Because I actually have the money to rebuild the house if I had.
Then you're in good shape. How old? I'm guessing that house is pretty old.
The house is 68.
Okay, so it's been there since 68. Hasn't blown down.
Yeah, hasn't blown down yet.
If you can swing it,
Actually,
then
I don't know if you're familiar with Luzerne.
Yes.
Off of Lake Worth.
Yeah,
Road
Lake
there.
Worth Road.
And,
Yep.
what a
Yep.
coincidence.
Yeah. I mean, they're very solid homes, and I mean, we're happy with it and everything. But then the other question I have is, my dad has a single-family home in Boynton. His roof was like 20 years old, so we put a new roof on it, and he has Citizens too. Should we just wait for them to? I'm surprised they even haven't even said anything to him since it was over 20 years old.
I mean, I would update them, because I don't know what your old wind mitigation report said, if the roof was put on after March of 2002. But if it was not put on after March of 2002, you're going to want to update them because you'll get a discount. But you're going to want to update them anyway, just so they don't come by. And
Here's. Oh, go ahead, John. Go ahead.
Well, just one other question. If you're not happy with the agent that you have with Citizens, what's the negative of switching to somebody else with Citizens?
Nothing. The only thing that changes is the name of the agent on your paperwork and then who you talk to about it.
Okay.
Yep. And just a little tip for you and other people. One of the things that we learned just a couple weeks ago was if your house has the right useful life, years of use life, which is 3 years or longer, and you go ahead and put on a new roof, you don't get any discount for having the new roof on the house unless you did the special underlayment thing, right?
No. So if most people right now have a roof that was put on after March of 2002, right? That's 21 years.
Right.
So even that roof that was put on April 1st of 2002, that roof is 21 years old. And people are saying, well, I'm going to replace my roof so I can save money. Well, right now, 95% of the time you're with Citizens, and by replacing your roof, you're not going to save any money.
Right, because you already have useful life on your other roofs.
You're
So
getting the FBC discount. Citizens doesn't have an age of roof discount. It's just how much useful life do you have? If you have enough useful life to keep your roof, then if I had Citizens, I wouldn't switch. I wouldn't waste my money on a new roof.
Yeah, my dad was freaking out because he saw all the cancellations happening and everything. So we just put a new roof on his house to avoid his aggravation.
and it's a smart thing to do in the long run. It
Yeah.
gives you sense of especially to your dad, right? So your dad's taking care of you. You don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
it's much better to do it when you want to do it than being forced to do when the insurance company tells you.
Well, that was my point exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
the deal. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Hey,
thank
guys,
you so much, and thanks for listening to the show.
I mean, I look forward to. I mean, I get upset when I can't hear the show on the weekends, but
Well, you could always go to
appreciate it.
YouTube or Facebook, and they all turn into podcasts afterwards. You can catch it later on your iPods.
Your
AirPods.
iPod?
AirPods. Yeah, your AirPods.
RealRadio921.com. It's posted up there.
You can record it on a tape and listen to it on your Walkman.
Yeah, put your boombox up to the speaker and hit record, play and record.
Walking down the street, have it on your shoulder. Anyway, have a great day, great weekend.
Thanks for calling, John.
Yep.
Yeah, so Silicon Valley Bank, hopefully this is just a blip because it's a specialized market and that's all it's going to turn into, but who knows? And so what else is happening with the market right now? Okay, so mortgage rates are still increasing. We're almost at 6.75 now. Okay, we're at 6.73. That's not horrible for the history, but not good comparatively. We were down as low as 6.09 like 6 weeks ago. So we're scooting back up again.
I think there's a lot of people with that mentality of, well, I'm not going to do anything until it's 3 again.
That's not happening. Yeah,
but I still feel like people have that mentality.
If we get into the 3s again, it's because we're having some kind of national crisis.
Right.
Okay, there's going to be some kind of financial collapse that's going to bring us down there. The last one, the reason why we got into the 3s for real was COVID, right? And we got into the 2s, actually, believe it or not, which is crazy. But once things started straightening up there, we started going up. So we have mortgage rates continuing to rise. Mortgage applications are at a 28-year low. We're probably going to have the lowest amount of sales in the United States for homes, probably in the last 20-something years is what's going to happen this year. We got up to over 6 million units sold last year, and they're thinking that maybe it'll only be 4 million units sold this year. So that's a big difference, 1/3 drop.
Does that include new construction?
New construction too. Yeah, that's all units. And things probably aren't going to get better with interest rates because the jobs report just came out. Last month in January, for the jobs report in January, we hit 500,000 new jobs created. And that stunned all the national economists. They had no idea it was going to get that strong. So then this month for February, what everybody was saying is they expected about 200 jobs created. And they thought on a robust day, maybe we get up to 231, maybe 250, 250,000 jobs created. Well, the jobs report came out at 311,000 jobs created in February. Now, you would think that's a good thing, right? People are getting hired, but that's not necessarily a good thing for interest rates and inflation. What this is showing is that even though that Jerome Powell and the Fed are jacking up the rates to clamp down on inflation, people are still buying, employers are still hiring, and buying everything. I don't mean just real estate. They're just out buying. And so the Fed, in my mind, they're going to go back to 0.5 point, maybe even a 3/4 point jump at some point. Nobody's talking 3/4 except me. I haven't read 3/4 anywhere, but I can see 3/4 coming if this trend doesn't slow down, which means every time they jack up the rates, there's a good chance that the rates are going to go up for regular interest rates. Another thing that you have to keep an eye on, I think this is kind of interesting, Rocket Mortgage. Okay, I call it the Scud Missile Company, my personal opinion. Okay, Rocket Mortgage, they lost $500,000 last quarter. They had just gone public last year. So I think this is the first full quarter, and they have to tell their investors, sorry, we lost $500,000 of your money. Sorry about that. Better luck next time, right?
Half a million or half a billion?
I thought it was going to be $500 million, but it wasn't. I had to double check because I always get those numbers wrong. There's a little difference between $500 million and $500 million, but still, it's still, just a little bit, right? And then,
zeros.
Legislators think it's nothing. There's nothing between those two. $500 million, what the hell?
True.
I'm an elected congressman, But so, just to show, we said that mortgage applications are down at a 28-year low. Rocket Mortgage is feeling it, right? There's a lot of mortgage companies out there. Rocket Mortgage says they're going to fix the problem by trying to use that Rocket Mortgage app where it isn't just to get a loan, it's also to help you with controlling all your
money.
finances.
I thought that was a great idea by them, that thing, because now, they're underwriting you because you don't even need to use that app to get a mortgage. It's just an app that they've launched, right?
Right. It's an app to like make sure that your direct withdrawals are really what you want out of your bank account, which I actually think is a good feature. That I know I'm spending way too much money on stuff I should be.
But they're
don't even know I'm paying for.
They're actively underwriting it.
Yeah, they are. Yep. So we'll see how that goes. My advice to you though is, and I just had another bad experience with a company like a Rocket Mortgage, if not Rocket Mortgage, okay, where the people go ahead and they take 5 seconds and they plug in a bunch of information on their phone and they're walking around with this approval letter and think they're qualified for a loan. No, you're not. You're not. You're not. So give us a call. We'll tell you how to get mortgage qualified for real. And I shouldn't say that. I'm always trying to be fair to everybody. If you have, an 820 credit score and you have no debt and you want to go get a loan, Rocket Mortgage is safe, but so are many other companies too. It isn't because it's Rocket Mortgage or anything. And don't rely on the computer to tell you you're qualified for a loan. Use a real live human being. That's my advice to you. Okay. Couple other things. This is another thing that's kind of scary about maybe we would have a financial crisis. The job market's really strong, but credit card debt or debt owed by the consumers is getting crazy. We hit $1 trillion. That's the first time ever we had $1 trillion in consumer debt. So that's not a good thing. We're using cards by April 2021 or something. We had the most savings in the history of the United States ever. Now here it is, 2023. We have the most debt ever because we spent all that COVID money.
That was quick.
We spent it all. It's gone. You have your hangover for spending too much, right? And now you're trying to figure out how you're going to pay off all this debt. And reading the articles about this $1 trillion of debt, it's pretty amazing. This one family, the lady said that pre-COVID, she owed a couple of $1,000s on her credit card, right? Young single mom, right? Then it got to not owing anything during COVID because she was paid all that money. And then then it got up to $5,000 in credit card debt. Now she has over $30,000 in credit card debt.
Oh my God.
And she says it's going to take her, the quote was in the article, that it's going to take her 300 years to pay off that $30,000, right? Or so
if you do the minimum payment.
Yeah. She's like, I'm never going to be able to pay this off with what I owe and everything, like my income and all my debt. I'm never going to be able to pay this off. That's a little scary to me. And Johnny's always been a big fan. Johnny C has always been a big canary in the coal mine about that, wondering if the shoe's going to drop. And that's really going to crush people. And my argument's been that could happen, but not until we see the job market getting really weak. And the job market, as we just discussed, is not really weak. My opinion right now, unless we have some kind of world influence in our economy, the only thing that's going to change the trajectory we're on right now is if we start losing jobs, right? And we're not seeing that yet, except like certain pockets. We are. But, we've gone through things like that many times.
I think banks are starting to,
But even that's minimum.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
pretty minimal as what
The-
the layoffs between Google and Twitter and all that.
The tech stock is real stuff happening, but whether it's going to spill over to regular people or not, like if it's going to ripple into everything else, I'm not sure. The reason why the last crisis we went into, like 08, 09, was that housing affected everybody, right? Everybody was involved in banks. Everybody had their money in banks or dealing with banks. Many people had mortgages, right? Even the people that didn't have mortgages, they were renting places that people had mortgages on.
Sure.
So it affected way more of a bigger market. Whether this tech thing's going to spill over, its site could be, it's undetermined yet, but we got to keep an eye on it. The other thing is this article came out right before the Silicon Valley Bank collapse, and it was talking to 7 economists as what they thought was going to happen this spring in the real estate market and the economy. And I thought this was kind of interesting. A week before the Silicon Valley, they were saying everything was pretty stable as long as interest rates don't continue to go up too much, that we'll probably end the year in the low 6s, like 6 will be pretty, like in December we'll be at 6, and that we'll see that the people will start coming back into the market this spring as far as buying, because they know that November, December, January, and February wasn't very strong months for buying. So they felt this spring people were going to start putting their houses on the market. People were going to start buying more. But the interest rates have gone almost a half a point in 3 weeks. They've gone up a half a point in 3 weeks. The last time we started seeing this trend, which was last winter, people just got out of the market. It was crickets chirping. So I don't believe that the economists really know what's going on. I think they're just
it's
licking
evident.
their finger and seeing which way the wind blows at that moment.
Yeah, they were wrong about all those jobs, and they, just as you were saying, how unexpected it was, kind of twice. In my head, I was just thinking, these are just human beings that really have no idea.
They don't know any more than you and I know, which is pretty scary.
Yeah, they went to school and can say stuff,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it's kind of unknown.
Yeah. So and they also were predicting that inflation would just last week. Okay, this is before all this. They were predicting before this jobs report came out, before the bank failure. They were saying that inflation is going to continue to slow down, but we're not seeing that. Inflation looks like it's starting to spike again a little bit.
It's no longer transitory.
It's no longer. No longer. It's definitely not transitory, but the soft landing. They were talking about soft landing just 2 weeks ago, and then the stock market took a bath because they were worried about the banking system. That got me nervous. I didn't expect them to be worried about the banking system. Now, the other thing they said about the banking system, I forgot to mention, is that the reason why they don't think that the SVB thing is going to spill over to other banks is because of the 2008 regulations they put in place to make sure that banks have enough capital to withstand body blows like this. And they said that the other banks are way healthier on their ledger sheets, and there's no reason for them to have a run on the banks right now. So we'll see if that's true or not. And then they think the last thing they said is they thought that the market should be good for highly qualified buyers. This market's going to be really good for highly qualified buyers and for sellers. Okay, but people that are on a budget, it's still going to be tight. Like Robert and David, it's still going to be really tight. The highly qualified buyers, though, they're going to have more choices. And if they come in with stronger financing or a stronger offer because they can, they're going to beat out a lot of their competition and they're going to get a better deal. So if you're a highly qualified buyer, you can take advantage of this market. If you're a seller, right now, the inventory is still pretty low overall. Not all markets, but most of it is. And you'll still do pretty good right now. As AJ Hallman said, sent me a message this week. We're still seeing about 0.5% appreciation every month. That's not a bad thing. Growth is good, right, for sellers.
Yeah, if you're thinking about selling in June and you're selling, June may have been a peak, but still, you're still going up every year.
Yeah, so we're still in a forward movement. So we'll see how long that lasts. I know I wanted to get into Florida sucks. I'm moving to Vegas, but I guess we're going to have to do that next week, Jimmy, because we don't have any more time, right?
Yep, we are out of time.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Do we have 1 second or no? How much time do we got?
Yeah, about 10 seconds to wrap up.
Okay. If you have any questions, go to FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. That's all that's all you got to remember. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Thanks, guys. I hope you have a great weekend. Happy spring.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ross. I really appreciate it.